What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Outside the Arena with Rob and Griff. I'm Griffin Tedek, joined by my co-host Rob Goldberger. And what a day it was today in sports. We were filming Sunday night for a change. I think this is the first time, maybe in Outside the Arena history, that this has happened. But we had the World Cup final today, which we're going to talk about very brief in a second here. Maybe the best soccer game of all time. I mean, there's a real good argument for it potentially. We've got some MLB free agent signings, and then we have a full day of NFL football, which we just saw one of the most idiotic, crazy endings in that New England Vegas Raiders game. We'll break that down in a little bit. But we are going to start off with what was just an incredible match. Argentina wins the World Cup. Lionel Messi, cements himself as the greatest of all time, now that he's won a World Cup. That debate seems to be pretty set in stone. This one went to penalties. I'm sure everyone watching knows the result, but Argentina wins 4-2 in penalties. It was 3-3 in regulation and overtime. Mbappe with the hat trick, Messi 2 goals. I mean, this game was pure insanity. Obviously, it seemed like Argentina was really in the cruising seat, and then in that 80th minute, Mbappe strikes twice. Your thoughts on this game, Rob? Obviously, you're a bit more of a soccer fan than I am. Just an absolutely insane match. So,
like one of the best. As I was saying, it's been a meme. Sort of like if you're an American soccer fan and you're expecting like every soccer match that you're gonna watch to be like that in the future, that's not going to be the case, obviously. But it was a great game, and obviously, I'm of the opinion that Messi didn't really need to win this World Cup to prove himself as the GOAT. But I'm glad that, like you said, those discussions are finally going to be put to rest. But the guy just Argentina's quality. They have really quality players, especially their back line. They really do. But they're nowhere near France or some of the other top dogs in this tournament. Messi really put Argentina on his back all the way through. And obviously Di Maria had a masterclass of a performance day with his goal and obviously winning the penalty. And when he was taken off, it seemed like the whole momentum shifted towards France's side. But like you said, Mbappe and Messi, the two best players in the world. And Mbappe is sort of cementing himself as, this new age GOAT. And he was the best. I'm a huge Messi fan, but to me, he was the best player on the pitch today. I mean, he was unreal today, especially that second goal. And look, you're just not going to get a better game than that. You're not going to find better storylines than that. Obviously, the French team, if they're at full strength, they had 5+ guys missing due to injury. But look, they've had that the whole tournament. They're a dominant national team. But look, Messi, like you said, it's the perfect story. It's the perfect ending. And really to a great World Cup. Obviously, Argentina blew 2-0 leads in the latter stages of the knockout rounds, got through both times on penalties. But I was just thinking to myself, man, the mental fortitude of those guys taking penalties is just unbelievable. But yeah, Argentina, one of the best teams in the whole tournament. I sort of thought that Argentina, France, and Brazil would be the heavy favorites. Obviously, Brazil choked a little early, but Argentina and France really showed up. And what a show, man. Mbappe and Messi, Mbappe has nothing to hang his head over. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think it's crazy when you think about the fact that Mbappe and Messi are teammates at PSG. That's just with Neymar. Yeah. It's how is that even possible? But yeah, like you said, Argentina, Messi, just this whole tournament was just on a different level. And he did score a lot of penalties, which is sometimes that's how it works for the teams that win. You just get penalties, and when you have one of the best players in the world who doesn't miss a penalty, you're gonna be able to have success. Obviously, going up against Mbappe, this French team is ridiculous. The fact that they are doing all this without, they don't have Benzema playing for them, who's the Ballon d'Or. Paul Pogba, I think, was hurt too, and then Griezmann too. It's ridiculous how good this French team is. Obviously, back in the final 2 years in a row, just missing, the victory here. Tough pill to swallow. In penalties though, they just got completely owned. You had one guy missing the net. I don't even know how that can happen in that case. You can't be. I don't even know. But what a game. As a guy who doesn't watch soccer too much and has watched some World Cup, this is a game where you're just you appreciate the sport.
Yeah,
for,
you're watching.
The best it can be.
No, yeah. You know what the magnitude of what you're watching is and how special it is. The way that they connect with their fans after the game, it's it really is so different than anything you'll see in American sports. And obviously, we love the NFL, we love Major League Baseball, we love all all sport American sports, but sometimes like there's just like a very special moment. There's like a very just special connection with these fans. And like I said, like Lionel Messi is just he's the greatest of all time. There's incomparable. Like look, listen, no disrespect to Cristiano Ronaldo. He's obviously one of the GOATs, but like the greatest compliment he ever got was being compared to Lionel Messi. Like this guy is just he's just a different level. There's nothing more to say. And it's like he's so like obviously I'm sure the guy, is obviously less reserved and private and I'm sure he lives like a king, but he seems to like not very be like egotistical or narcissistic for like the amount of I mean, he's treated like a god at the end of the day. I mean, you see people bowing down to him in the middle of a game, like it's unreal. But like this guy is just I'm glad he got his crowning achievement. Like he didn't need it, but like I'm just glad that everybody will finally sort of come to agree that this guy is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I don't think you could put it better than that. Obviously, a very fun tournament. A lot of really high intensity games. Obviously, this one uh, will go down as one of the greatest games potentially in soccer history. I mean, I'm a very big casual, but I mean, I would imagine just the magnitude, the matchups of having Messi versus Mbappe, and how crazy this game was going to penalties.
Mbappe,
It's got to be up there.
Mbappe turning 24 in 2 days is just like it's just that would have been
Yeah,
his
I mean, I think he has like what one less goal than Messi all time in World Cup games or something like that already.
amount actually. Maybe no, maybe one less. Yeah, I mean he's
I think
already
because it was 2-1, and then they both each
yeah
scored
he'll
one
break
more.
it. He's gonna break the record at age 27, which is just like one of the most absurd stats you'll ever hear in your life, breaking the World Cup goal record in
Yeah,
3 cups.
and he's probably got at least three more World Cups to
Yeah.
go.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because the third one would be around age 35 or so. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy stuff. Obviously, next World Cup, thinking that far in the future is crazy that I'll be graduated from college, but it'll be in the Americas, in North America. So, going to be very fun. That will be absolutely insane. The amount of you know foreign fans that are going to be coming to America. It's just crazy to kind of already think about,
Yeah.
how that's going to look, which is going to be awesome. But moving on from the World Cup, we're going to talk real quick. MLB free agency at this point, Rob, like everyone's gone. I mean, it's like
Dude, Gene
a
Segura is
ghost
the
town. It's pretty crazy.
Gene Segura is
You
the
know,
best position player left on the market at this point, dude.
yeah, like people talk about MLB free agency, in years past, like it has been so slow, but for whatever reason this year, I mean, it's December 18th and the market's basically gone, which I think is good for the sport. Like when free agency is fun and interesting and a lot's happening, it's always good. And that's how it's been these last, I mean, since the winter meetings, you've had like a well-known player, a good player signing every day, it feels like. But really the big three that was left, they all signed. Carlos Correa will start out with 13 years, 350 million to the San Francisco Giants. You hear the Mets were in at the last moment. Steve Cohen was quoted in the Post. It seemed to be they would have gone to like 300 million or something for Correa. I mean, pretty crazy stuff. But the Giants get their superstar. Your thoughts? Obviously, a huge record-breaking deal for a shortstop for Correa, who did that year at the Twins, and it definitely paid off.
Yeah, I mean, my reaction, to be honest, if you wanted my initial thoughts, I thought how good is that Bryce Harper contract? That's what I was thinking to myself. But yeah, like it seems like to me like a lot of these teams are just following this model of like long-term deal and maybe smaller AAV rather than splurging. But like the Giants had to get I think the Giants had to end up with somebody from this offseason. Obviously, they missed out on Judge. They obviously we'll talk about Carlos Rodon in a second, who didn't really ever look like he was gonna return there, to be honest. But
Yeah,
yeah, like the Giants, I don't know. The Giants, sorry about that. Let me put myself disturb really quickly. But yeah, I don't know. The Giants had to get their big money guy, and they got him. And I think it makes sense for Cray. I mean, the 1 year deal, the 1 year opt out deal ended up working out for him after all
yeah.
that. So the guy got it. The guy is, you know, they I think both player and organization should be happy with this.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants got their guy. Obviously, looking at their team, they're probably really not going to be seriously competing. But I mean, they obviously had that crazy season, a year ago. So I guess you can never really count them out. But I would probably say that that team will not be seriously competing. But obviously, they're a big market team. They've got money to spend. So good for them. Good for Correa. I think I saw someone post about this, and I think it's really interesting. I'd like to, maybe hear your thoughts. Is that Steve Cohen, as crazy as he is with all this payroll, I think there is part of these other owners that are now having to, go spend more money, give bigger
Yeah, most
contracts.
definitely.
And, because they're worried, like you saw with the Giants, like with Correa. I mean, the Mets were, all of a sudden in the mix. And then just like that, Correa, the Giants probably had to extend their offer. I think they were done as it was, but it seems like that there's this, you know, a lot of teams. I think that's why we've seen everyone sign. People are eager to get deals done. They're willing to overpay. I mean, this market has really been good for the players, which is always a good thing. And, I would argue that Steve Cohen has probably, you know, been a part of that reason because of how crazy he is with, spending money.
No, I'm in total agreement. I mean, I think like obviously like competition pushes competition. So
Yeah.
if yeah, no, it's good. Then like obviously like like you said, there's just been an influx of spending. Like John Middleton, who we've talked about like a lot, he's spending now. Like and like you said, I definitely agree. Like I think the Dodgers and the Mets especially have really like pushed. I think definitely like push the envelope rather like in terms of spending in baseball. But like you said, like I think like the reason it's just unfortunate that like in July you're gonna see like maybe 2,500 fans at Great American Ball. Like
Yeah.
nobody like it's still gonna be like I do like obviously like this is why I talk about it. It's such an off discussed topic on this podcast is like like we can talk about the luxury mat tax and maybe whether that's problematic and that's a whole separate discussion. But like I don't know, there needs to be money spent and like you said, like I think it's just good for this sport. Like we're not gonna have guys signing 3 weeks into spring training. Like everybody knows where they are and I don't know. Like it's good for the fans. It's
Yeah.
a where it's good for it's good for the fans at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you said, like there still probably are like 7, 8 teams or so that, aren't spending money. And it definitely sucks, especially with, all these owners are rich. And I get it. Like some of these, there are franchises that are rebuilding right now. And, I understand you don't want to have a $200 million payroll when you're rebuilding, but there's definitely a consistent group of, teams looking at, maybe like the Pirates, Reds, A's, Rays, for example, that, are not opening their wallets really ever. So
Yeah.
definitely not good for the sport. Um, we'll move on to Carlos Rodon, though. 6 years, 162 million. Honestly, less than what I thought he would get. Just how the reports seem. But the Yankees, I mean, that rotation is pretty crazy at the end of the day. I'm not going to lie. They go out, they make a big move. They had to improve, obviously. They couldn't just make Judge their one signing. They get Rodon. Your thoughts on the Yankees and, maybe even where that rotation ranks? I think it's probably top two, them and the Mets potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there. Like we both kind of said that he would end up with the Yankees, I believe, last week.
Yeah.
Yankees were gonna get this done. Like Aaron Judge basically said, "Go get me some stars to play with." Like I think that they were gonna have to spend, and I don't know. He bet on himself and won Carlos Rodon. He opted out and he got a ton of money.
Yeah.
Um, like I think he's turning 30, obviously, but look, I think it'll work. Like the Yankees have a very strong rotation. They have a very strong team. I just think like I said, like I'm just gonna be honest, like I'll just say it. I'm sorry, Yankees fans, but like you're not gonna be the best team in the AL. You're still inferior to the Astros, but like this is a move that they had to make to even make their starting pitching somewhat competitive because I don't know, like Rodon and Cole is just it's so formidable though. It really is like thinking about it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean 6 years, 160 is a ton of money for Carlos Rodon. It is. And I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad contract because I don't want to contradict myself. But I mean, good for Carlos Rodon.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, he's not discrediting him, but he's had 2 good years. Other than that, it was pretty bad. But it
And
seems like
the other thing is, sorry, I just wanted to add more thing. The guy doesn't pitch all that much, like compared to a
yeah.
real. Like,
Last year he pitched a good most of the season, though, I think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, in terms of innings eating though, like he's not. I don't know if he's there with the
No,
top.
he's not an innings
Yeah,
eater.
that's
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
yeah.
But, Yankees, they had to go out, get someone. Didn't seem like they were ever really serious about any of the shortstops. So they go out, get Rodon. That rotation, Cole, Rodon, Nestor, Sevy, Montas. I mean, it's a really good 1 through 5. I mean, there's
Yeah, I
not
mean
much more to say
that's
than
how you
that. Like,
solidify.
yeah, I
You
mean,
make a solidify your rotation, and they did it. So I mean, it was
yeah,
kind
good
of
for them. They got it done. And, it seemed like he wanted to be in New York from what guys like John Heyman were saying. But yeah, I mean, good move for the Yankees. I agree. Like the Astros are probably you got to say they're the better team. They've owned the Yankees, but they did lose Verlander, but they also added Abreu. They kept Brantley, so they're going to be good. We all know they're going to be good. They still have a really good rotation too. So, but good for the Yankees. Like if you're going to beat the Astros, it's probably going to have to be through starting pitching. So, good on them. They get the best guy left on the market, and we'll see. They're looking into the outfield market. Do they go after a Conforto maybe? We'll see what's next potentially. But good move from the Yankees. Lastly, Dansby Swanson signs I believe it's 7 years, 177 million, or is it 8 years? I think it was
7 years. It's
7 to
7
177.
years.
Yeah,
7 177,
huge
yes.
contract for Dansby Swanson. Seemed like he was really going to cash in with the current market. Pretty crazy that he's not a Brave. The Braves let another guy go. Anyone who's not willing to, take a AAV of less than $10 million seems to be out the door. But yeah, Dansby Swanson gone. The Cubs have, they've spent money, man. They've got him, Bellinger,
Yeah.
Jameson
Look,
Taillon this
they're-
offseason.
I'll tell you something. They're building a heck of a defensive ball club.
Yeah.
I think, at least from the defensive side, and look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself regarding the Chicago Cubs here. I think I could be a little bit of an optimist, but the NL Central kind of sucks, dude. It's not I don't know. I think that division is really they're going for it. I think that division really is up for. We talked about I mean, I think they are probably a little far away to win it this year, but that division does not have a dominant team by any means. And I mean, if they're going to keep spending until they're right back in that picture, I think. And like I said, I just think Bellinger, Swanson, I'll be honest, you just got guys playing. You got guys you got a solid defensive squad.
Yeah, I mean, really good defensive team, good move. I mean, like you said, that division, you got the Reds, Pirates, they always suck. The Brewers are just they don't really spend, so they're just kind of the same mediocre team every year. And then you've got the Cardinals, who are definitely the favorite in this division. They got a really good team. They're definitely, I think they're the clear-cut favorite. I still wouldn't say the Cubs are there, but yeah, like you said, they're doing a good job. They've really made a lot of good moves that you can look at and say, they're going to be competitive and should probably be around a 500 team potentially. I mean, they're not too shabby. They played really well in the second half last year.
They
So,
did.
Dansby Swanson's definitely going to help that out. Good for him cashing in, getting the biggest deal he could. And yeah, I mean, good move for the Cubs, good move for Swanson. And, always good to see, a guy like that leave the Atlanta Braves. So not going to complain.
Yeah, but
especially when
Vaughn Grissom, 45 home runs, 350 average next year.
I don't get I feel like Braves fans have just made Vaughn Grissom seem like this guy's some hot number one prospect superstar, and it's the guy had a 645 OPS.
Well, he wasn't great. No. It's because he hit the home run in his first. He went off his first weekend up, right? And so since then, it's just been a nonstop hype train. But don't speak too soon because I'm sure he's gonna come back to punish both of our.
Sure, but I mean, their lineup still with Acuna, Michael Harris, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Albies, it's just loaded. And Sean Murphy, Darno. I mean, it's just never ending with the Braves. But yeah, we want to break those down. So, free agency kind of, there were some other moves. We're not going to really talk about them. We want to keep this episode a little tighter. So, MLB free agency almost in the books. So, if we don't talk about MLB for a little bit, that probably means no trades really went down because I don't think we'll really talk about many of the other guys. So could be a little dull on MLB content for a little bit, but that'll be okay. Moving on though to the NFL. I'm going to share my screen here. Pretty good weekend of NFL football. Definitely was. There were some crazy games, and we got to start off with the first game on Saturday. Voice crack there. Vikings Colts. I mean, this is Matt Ryan, man. This guy is just the worst at keeping a lead of all time. I mean, largest comeback in NFL history. This game was 33-0 at halftime. Vikings come back to win in overtime. Your thoughts, Rob?
I won't lie and pull LeBron and say, oh, the Vikings were coming back when it was 33-0. I didn't think that. But when it was 36-14, I had a pretty strong inkling that the Vikings are going to end up back in this game because Jeff Saturday is not an NFL coach. Jim Irsay is not an NFL owner. Matt Ryan, as much as I am a Matt Ryan advocate, I was in the offseason actually, embarrassing to admit, but The guy's not
That's
an NFL
terrible.
level. The guy's not an NFL level starter at this point. Like Justin Jefferson, obviously unbelievable. Not much else needs to be said about him at all. KJ Osborne was great too, but like Justin Jefferson is he's that guy. But like, man, the Indianapolis Colts are bad. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. Like, the problem is they started conserving time in the second quarter, in the middle of the second quarter for some reason. They would get the ball at the Vikings 25 and run it 3 times up the middle. I'm not really sure I understood that at all. And like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just so bad. It's so bad from Indianapolis. It should never happen to you as an NFL team. I don't care who your coach is, you have to almost try to lose a 33-0 lead at halftime. Look, credit to the Vikings. Everybody's saying, "Oh, well, this will change their season, this, that." I still think that they're like 3 clearly definitively better than teams better than the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC, but like, yeah, I mean, credit to them, but just Colts should not even be allowed to play for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the Colts suck. I mean, they're screwed. JT getting hurt in this didn't help, but yeah, like this lead was. I don't even know how that happened. At the end of the day, 33-0 at halftime. Just a disaster. Kirk Cousins. I mean, he wasn't even perfect. He was throwing interceptions.
No,
But
he wasn't. He wasn't that. He wasn't
the
that good.
stat sheet, 460 yards, pretty crazy. Obviously, like you said, like Justin Jefferson, this guy is just, he might very well may break that, all time receiving record. I think he's like 341 yards away or something like that. And he's got 3 games to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, the extra game
yeah,
is definitely going
has
to
to be
help.
adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah, but this Vikings team, definitely this was a rough game. You look at it that first half, I'm sure everyone's saying to themselves, this team is terrible, but these are the games that, good teams find a way to win. They found a way to win, and
10-0 one possession games. Do you know what that calls for next year? If anybody's a gambler that watches this, bet the Vikings under next year.
really good coaching. Kevin O'Connell,
No, it
absolutely
is good coaching.
fantastic head
It is.
coach.
It
This
is.
team is good. This team is good, but Rob, winning those close games. This team plays a lot of close games. Come playoff time, that's going to be very important. So
Yeah, I mean they're gonna.
I know you're not a Vikings guy whatsoever, but I think this team is in a spot where, they're a solid ball club. Obviously, they win the North.
They'll be the 3 seed.
A really good year for them, regardless, to,
Yeah, I agree.
dethrone the Packers, get that. And not that the Packers were good this year, but just in general, the Packers have owned that division. And,
No, I agree.
good for Kirk Cousins. That guy has gotten a lot of hate over the years, and he's put together a really strong season. And, yeah. Jeff Saturday should be fired. I mean, he is not going to be the coach of this team. He shouldn't be a head coach. It's ridiculous that guy ever got a head coaching job. I mean, it's pretty incredible. This guy was on ESPN talking with I mean, it's insane. This guy was on Get Up every morning, and then all of a sudden became the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Like, how does that happen?
Pretty terrible. I mean,
Middle of the season, too. Middle of the season.
Because like the Ursay family shouldn't own an NFL team at the end of the day. Like they just like the Ursay family should not own an NFL team. I don't know how to. The guy is on the guy will be on Twitter. Hold on a second. I'm gonna read you a tweet from Jim Ursay right now. Hold on a second. I just
Oh
want
boy.
It's not even like a cancel culture or any type of that type of thing.
No,
So,
I know what you're saying.
he posts the inactives from his own account. This is bizarre. Could you imagine any other team owner doing this? This is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just he's so involved. Look, I mean he makes Jerry Jones look like a tactful mastermind. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean Colts bad.
Crazy game. Moving on. Nope. Dolphins Bills. This was a down to the wire game. This Dolphins team starting to lose a few in a row here. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily worried about them making the playoffs, but it's definitely not been a good stretch. But Buffalo, Josh Allen. This was a really good game from Josh Allen. I think he's had some not shaky, but he hadn't been Josh Allen these last few weeks. I think this was a really encouraging sign. What are your thoughts on the state of both of these teams? Obviously, really good game. Buffalo seems to be in the driver's seat for this AFC East. Oh,
Yeah.
did they clinch it already or no?
I
They
don't think.
clinched playoff berth, not the division. Is
No,
what
yeah,
it
I don't think
was.
they clinched the division. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm. This is a tough game for Miami because I think they had the game right there. But like you said, like Josh Allen is just he's a master. He's masterful. He's a master what he does. But like, yeah, like I don't think the Dolphins are just on that like Chiefs or I mean the Chiefs have been questionable at best these past couple weeks. We'll get to them in a second, but I don't think they're on that Chiefs Bills level. I thought it was going to be so different this game. Like I didn't think that anybody was going to be able to throw the ball. Little did I know that they were going to have
Yeah,
like 150 yards through the air combined. But I didn't think I thought nobody was going to be able to.
they were hyping up the snow a lot,
They
and then
were
it
like,
finally
yeah,
came
they
in the fourth quarter. But yeah, it was crazy seeing the
the fourth
fans
quarter
throwing
of
like
that game.
snowballs and stuff.
That But one of the best plays of the season, like you were saying, I mean, Josh Allen really balled out in this game is when, Josh Allen sprinting to the left and it almost just feels like the ball is like ejected from his stomach into his receiver. It's like truly one of those unbelievable throws that you see from only guys like Mahomes and Allen and, occasionally Justin Herbert. But no, I mean, Bills got it done at home. Like obviously it was a close game. I still think the Dolphins are very good. I think Mike McDaniel is very good at his job. I think I'm always skeptical of Tua. You know how I feel about him. I don't know if he's like I don't know how legit the guy is, but I mean, we could talk about Tua for a second though. Like, I think the guy really isn't that good at the end of the day. Like, I think if you gave Mike McDaniel, and this is obviously has been a huge debate with that clown Emmanuel Acho on Twitter who's been spreading this nonsense about if you gave Mike McDaniel Justin Herbert, I think the Dolphins would be the favorites in the AFC. And meanwhile, the Chargers and the Dolphins are going to have the same record after this game. After all this talk about Tua, and I understand Tua was hurt for a couple weeks, but all this talk about Tua and winning and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, Justin Herbert is the better quarterback, and he has always has been, and he always will be. Could you imagine if Tua and Justin Herbert switched systems? Justin Herbert would have 5,500 yards working with Mike McDaniel. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, working with Mike McDaniel and having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, they would have just abused like the deep ball with those two. I mean, that
Yeah,
would be ridiculous. Like it would be crazy for sure. I mean, I think there's no debate that Herbert's better than Tua. I will say Tua's made like big strides this year though. Like before this year, there was a huge question mark with Tua, and all of a sudden, I feel like is he a franchise guy? Like I don't know if he's a superstar, but like I would say that they could extend him and feel like I think
but
we'll see
would
how
you?
it goes the rest of the year. I think
But
the
would you? Yeah, but would you be comfortable tying down your entire future to him? I don't know if I would be.
I don't know if I would give him one of these huge like contract extensions, like the Cardinals did with Kyler Murray. Like I think it's a
Yeah, no,
similar
I agree.
situation,
I agree.
like very similar where he's a good quarterback, a good player, but is he like a superstar to where you should commit like 40 to 50 million dollars annually to him? I don't know. I wouldn't say so for Tua, but if that's what he's going to get, then I don't know.
Yeah, all
But
power to him at the end of the day.
yeah, he's definitely earned himself some money this year, but I don't think they'll extend him quite yet. But we will see. Obviously, time to tell. Good game though. Obviously, Dolphins will need to get some wins going forward. Eagles, Bears. I mean, close game. Justin Fields, man, like this guy is just an unbelievable talent. I mean, there's nothing more to say than that, really.
Yeah, he was a beast today. Like obviously, like the Bears were kind of outclassed by that Eagles defensive line. Like Hassan Reddick might have had 12 sacks instead of two today. I mean, the Eagles obviously still got to Justin Fields 6 times. But look, he's the only reason why this game was even somewhat competitive. Like
Yeah,
stupid football by the Eagles. Like they had a chance to like really put this game away where they were at they just gotten the ball back at midfield and Sanders gives the Bears the ball back, and on their side of the field. Teams play close games in the NFL. I'm not really too worried about the Eagles. Obviously, they went up 2 touchdowns with 3 minutes to play. And like I said, Justin Fields, great quarterback. He needs some help. And like you didn't see it, but like that was one of those underrated, like all time where like freezing cold NFL games. Like those dudes were both guys from both teams were like Jalen Hurts and said that was the coldest weather he had ever played in like by far. So yeah, I mean Jalen
Chicago, it's cold. Trust me, I'm aware.
Yeah, right. And he had the right. He had those 2 picks, obviously. But in the first half, but he still had 350 total yards of offense and 3 total touchdowns. So fine performance from today. Arthur Juan Brown, senior, he's so good. He's so unbelievably good. And him and
He
Devontae
is.
are just insane. But yeah, thank you, Titans, basically.
Yeah, Lions, Jets. The Jets are screwed. I mean,
Yeah, you're not making the playoffs, unfortunately.
No, they're done. I mean, what is this? The third loss in a row now, I think. Third, yeah. And they've lost 4 or 5. I mean, just an absolute disaster of a stretch here. Zach Wilson, like, he wasn't great, but he wasn't
I
terrible.
don't think
Like,
he was the. I didn't think he was the reason they lost. I mean,
no, the defense failed them towards the end. Bad coaching also. Robert Saleh, like, bad clock management. He's been good all year, so it's bound to happen. The run game was non-existent, but the Detroit Lions, man, like this team,
yeah, they're
they're
balling.
probably going to make the playoffs. It's
Yeah, they are.
Dan Campbell honestly should probably win Coach of the Year. Like absolutely insane. We bashed
Well,
on
it
him a
depends,
little bit.
right? But it depends on what. Well, we'll talk about the Jaguars in a second, right? Because they could sneak in. All of a sudden, they're a game out of the division.
Give it the Lions over the Jags. I guess not though. I guess the Jags have the one pick, but yeah, this Lions team is very good defensively. Jared Goff, not his best game. He's struggled on the road, but didn't turn the ball over. That's all you could ever ask for, especially against a really good Jets defense. So yeah.
Yeah, Jared Goff, like he missed one tough throw today that would have given the Lions a touchdown that he underthrew. But other than that, the guy's solid. Like you said, like he's very solid. And like, sorry, I'm gonna be a hater for a second here, but like you better be damn solid for being paid $28 million a year. But like,
Well, that's like a bargain nowadays for a
I
quarterback.
guess
Like
so, right? I
if
guess so.
someone said Jared Goff for 28 million, like right now, I think a lot of NFL teams would sign up for
For
that.
1 year, maybe. For 1 year, maybe. For 1
Yeah,
year.
well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I don't think at this point you'd want to give Jared Goff like
Yeah.
5 years.
But
But
no,
yeah,
yeah, Jared Goff has been serviceable, and the important thing about Jared Goff is that like he's made it to the point where like they can address some other needs and keep building before like I think they're gonna before I think they make like their real push for contention in like 2024 or like 2024. So
yeah, very well. This team could use that Rams pick on a
that that all
defender or
that
a
offense
line.
is
I
that
guess is
offense
really good.
is it's like the Jets defense is amazing, like you said, but that offense is they got weapons, dude. Like they got weapons on
They
that team.
do.
They have a very solid running back core, but obviously besides Garrett Wilson, nothing too impressive for for the Jets on the weapons front.
Yeah, I mean Elijah Moore, he's solid, but yeah, like you said, like the Jets are banged up. Obviously, like Brees Hall being out, you have a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
O line pieces missing. But yeah, I think I saw something the other day that was like the Jets this offseason. Obviously, quarterback is going to have to be addressed, but like they need to go out like the Dolphins did and add their like Tyreek Hill, like Garrett Wilson's like the Jalen Waddle. Like you need to go find like a Tyreek Hill to pair with him because Garrett Wilson is elite. I think this guy's going to be a superstar, but if you give him another receiver, it would really give you a boost. But yeah, Zach Wilson, I mean, today doesn't change my thoughts on him. Obviously, the Jets have to move on. Will be interesting to see if they go back to Mike White, if he's healthy enough. I don't really know what they'll do. We'll see. Chiefs, Texans. I mean, the Texans, man, this team is just,
Yeah, dude. Like, look.
they've got second life. They've got like all their best players right to IR. And then they run out this Jeff Driscoll Davis Mills combo. And it's created some havoc. I mean, really good performance from them. Obviously the Chiefs, a sketchy performance. Mahomes was so good. 36 for 41.
36 for 41. What? I didn't even see that until now. That's one of the most what? 36 for 41. Get the
He's
fuck out of
crazy.
here,
I
dude.
mean,
Are you kidding
Jerick
me?
McKinnon has really
Dude,
stepped down and
my
has been
fantasy
balling.
opponent benched him today. My fantasy opponent
Oh,
benched
I
him.
have him too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
have him and he's been on the bench, but might have to get the start. But yeah, like I don't know. What do you think? Like I feel like this is just one of those games that like you have a really good team that just, has a
I mean,
few
I
drives
think
where they just don't get anything done. Butker also missed a crap ton of kicks in this one, I believe.
yeah, no, look, like I think
1 for 2. I guess he missed one, but
no, my
yeah.
thoughts on the Chiefs aren't changed. Like they always play close games with shitty teams. They did with the Broncos last week. Like I think they do have like I think that defense like does have a little bit of a propensity to like completely collapse against like say a Bengals or Bills in the play or an
Yeah.
Eagles even in the playoffs. But like I'm not too worried about the Chiefs because of number 15. And on the Texans front, like I do think that they have some stuff. Like I do think that they have some studs. Like Jalen Petrie, the safety, I think is kind of is a beast. He was a monster against the Cowboys. And look, I think once Lovie Smith is out of there because he's not surviving the year after winning one game, and like it's just kind of once Hamilton is done being a terrorist as offensive coordinator, I think I think the Texans will be looking up. Like I think they've effectively cleaned house, and I think you are going to see Josh McCown as the head coach next year because that's the entire. I mean, that's the guy that they want. That's the guy that they want leading their franchise at the end of the day is Josh McCown, and like that's the only reason why Lovie Smith is the head coach right now is to give I think Josh McCown another year to prepare, and that's like it's the first time we really talked about the Texans all year. But those are my thoughts on them.
Yeah, I mean, they suck. There's a long way to go, but obviously they got the number one pick. They got the Browns pick, which will, probably be in the top 15 or so. So they're in a good spot. Uh, yeah, that's kind of all I gotta say.
No need to even discuss the Sam Darnold Mitchell Trubisky matchup.
Yeah, we're skipping over that. Saints, I could care less about.
I was pissed
This
that the
game,
Falcons lost that game though.
I know it's not good for your guys' draft pick, but Trevor Lawrence, man, I got to say, as a guy who was bashed on Trevor Lawrence on this podcast, who said, I didn't believe in him. This guy's turned the page. I mean, he is playing like an absolute superstar right now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that
This Jacksonville team, Zay Jones, man. I mean, what a season he's having.
three touchdowns.
Evan Ingram, my new fantasy tight end, has been balling the last few weeks. Dallas, man, this is it's just collapsed. I mean, I was starting another fantasy reference, but I started this defense and they dropped the donut. I mean, absolute disgrace.
So did I. So did I. Same thing. Same thing.
Absolutely disgraceful performance. Once again, though, Dak Prescott, I don't know if you could fault him for that game-ending interception, but could get the job done once again. I think Dak is going to be the reason. I think you would agree. Like, I just think this team won't get to where people think that they should or will because of the quarterback, number 4, Dak Prescott.
But like, also, let's talk about that vaunted defense giving up nearly 500 yards of offense today.
Yeah.
Like, they're not that good. They're not that fucking good. Bosa, I think, is better than Parsons. And like,
the Niners defense is obviously I think the Niners is unquestionably number 1 after this like stretch of less than 7 points in the second half in like 7 games or whatever.
No, I agree. Like I do think that like the Cowboys are a good team. I think that they're fine, but like, do I think that they're on that Eagles Niners level? No shot. No shot. And like the QB isn't that good. I think Mike McCarthy is not there's just been this whole like Mike McCarthy like back on the bandwagon with him, like, oh, he's reformed, he listens to the analytics, blah 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 blah. He sucks. The guy is not a head coach. He can't win, he doesn't win important games. And look, like Doug Peterson has done an incredible job in Jacksonville because I think when everything could have started spiraling out of control when it looked like they were going to be good, and then the teams win 3 out of their first 5 games or something like that, 6 games, and then sort of just like spiral downhill, and they end up like 4-13 now, I guess. But like that hasn't happened with the Jaguars. Like you said, it's just been getting like continuously better, especially for Trevor Lawrence. But I don't know, man. I'm a little skeptical of that Cowboys defense, and I think I have it, especially their defensive backfield, because I don't think Trayvon Diggs is a shutdown one. I don't think that DeMarcus Lawrence is the player he once was. And I think CeeDee Lamb is fine. I don't think that he's as big of a weapon as, say, a Christian McCaffrey or an A.J. Brown. But, like, the Cowboys, they are who I thought they were. They're a fine playoff team who will not win more than one playoff game. They've won one playoff game in the Dak era, by the way. One playoff win in the Dak era.
Yeah, and you talk about, we talked about it earlier with Tua, but committing yourself to one quarterback with so much money, and that's what the Cowboys did with Dak. And, teams I feel like feel pressured to when they have, a serviceable or slightly above average guy, and it's just not panning out for any of those teams. Obviously, Dallas is 10-4, so that might sound ridiculous. But when you think about, will this team, really go anywhere in the playoffs? The NFC isn't the best, but, like, I agree. Like, Eagles, Niners, I guess I can't put the Vikings above them because they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Betting against Justin Jefferson is always a tough bet, though. That kid is ridiculous. But yeah, like you said, like this was a total collapse from this defense. I mean, they did nothing. They didn't sack the quarterback. I guess they had, maybe 2 turnovers in this one, but like Cowboys just didn't get it done. just a disaster of a loss. I mean, last week was bad against Houston, but this was just Trevor Lawrence just came back and was doing whatever he wanted to that Dallas secondary. So, they're a little banged up, I understand, but it's late in the season. That's the case with every team, it feels like. So, no excuses. Huge win for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence, props given to him. This kid is definitely special and is finally showing that in his NFL career.
Agreed.
All right, moving on. I don't know how
Lawrence and
really
Fields, like we've said this a ton, like Lawrence and Fields, two best quarterbacks in the draft class. Who would have thought? Like, who would have?
Well, they were being discussed for years since high school as like the top two guys,
and
then Justin Fields was like up there the whole time, had some of the great, like incredible performances, and then for whatever reason, people just balked on him. And I mean, look at the guys drafted ahead of him: Trey Lance, done nothing in his NFL career, and Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not including Trevor, because Trevor was like the consensus one. So like he would never go one, but imagine if the New York Jets had Justin Fields instead of Zach Wilson. I mean, just imagine.
Yeah.
Totally changes the trajectory of that franchise.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I don't even like care about this game other than like the ending was just
well, you
first
always
of all, Derek Carr, I mean, this guy had a bad game overall, but that throw to Keelan Cole was a dot. And then what in the world is New England doing? You're going to overtime. You ran a play, you didn't get it, but then you're just throwing the ball halfway across the field.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, pretty bad from New England. Pretty bad.
I mean, you got to imagine Belichick's reaction to that.
This was an awful game, Griffin. Like this was this was bad.
13 for 31 from Mac Jones.
Dude. And the worst part was they were the best offense to watch on the day. That was the worst part. Like, dude, the Raiders, it says that they threw the ball 38 times there. Dude, they don't throw the ball enough. Like, it's usually the opposite now. They don't throw the ball enough.
Devontae Adams had 4
I'm going to angry Devontae Adams.
Yards.
I'm going to angry Devontae Adams fantasy owner. The dude isn't even getting to 10 targets a game anymore because they start doing this thing.
They love Mac Hollins.
There's this epidemic among NFL head coaches, bad NFL head coaches, I should say. Josh McDaniels. We saw in the Jets that like, stop chewing clock halfway through the second or third quarter. Do you know how volatile the NFL is? I don't get it. I don't get Josh Jacobs is fantastic, but I don't get the way that the Raiders run their team. And I understand some of this is biased because I am a disgruntled Devontae owner, but the way that they run their team is terrible. And Patriots, I mean, this is going to be an uncomfortable, and on the Patriots front, the offense is a problem because Matt Patricia and Joe Brady are running the offense. We don't need to, it's quite simple. When you have two failed NFL head coaches running your offense, not just failed NFL head coaches, notoriously bad NFL head coaches who didn't get along with their players, either one of them. This is a common thing, by the way, outside of Vrabel and temporarily Brian Flores, when coaches try to bring that Patriot way shit to other places besides New England, it doesn't work. It really doesn't. But yeah, like because to me, this is an unpopular opinion in the NFL world right now. Mac Jones isn't as bad as this. A guy who is that, I think
he's pretty, he's just so mediocre. It's just this guy is not a franchise guy. Like, we're talking about extending guys. Like, I would give 0 of my franchise's future dollars.
I don't agree, but I don't disagree with you, rather. But I don't think that a guy who looked quality. I think he was a quality NFL starter last year. I think he was at least like the 15th, 14th best quarterback in the league last year, around that, in that range. You saw. I'll give you a better. A guy like Jalen Hurts was mid at best last year, and now he's been one of the best. One of the most dynamic.
Yeah, Mac Jones isn't Jalen Hurts. Let's be real.
But like when
not
I'm
even close.
Like Mac Jones is like, I don't know. I think his career is being. I don't think he's that special. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that he's.
No, I I get what you're saying. Like Matt Patricia should not be calling the offense.
Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I mean, look at the weapons. Like he's not really got anyone like elite to throw to. Like these are pretty mediocre players. That's kind of how it's been in New England for a while. I mean, you obviously had guys like Gronk in there, way back in the day with Brady, you had some elite guys, but Julian Edelman was the best receiver this team had, consistently for the last 10 years maybe. I mean, they really haven't had like elite guys, but yeah, like New England, we've said pretty much all season they're pretty mediocre. They should have won this game. This is a really bad loss. Obviously, I mean, with
Yeah.
30 seconds to go or so, maybe even less.
How do
Like
you,
Raiders were losing, and then they somehow won in regulation. I mean, just insanity.
and look, the Raiders would have an insane momentum like right now, 5 in a row if they didn't
They
let.
won last game, yeah, crazy.
That is obviously contender. I mean, the Raiders just have a penchant for playing in games like these. They really do.
Yeah, they're just like one of those teams that just always ends up in these crazy situations. That was one of the worst ways to lose a game I think I've ever seen, though. I mean, that was I don't even I don't have words to like explain what I watched. Basically,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just ridiculous. I don't even know how that can happen at an NFL level where you're just like dicking around like that with the football. I mean, it's just like plays like that almost never work. They, throwing the ball halfway across the field when you're going to overtime is probably not a good idea.
Forgive me. And then sorry. The funniest part is as soon as the Raiders guy got the ball, you knew that there was no chance Mac Jones was ever going to make that tackle in a million years, dude.
Chandler Jones was like, yeah. And there was no one in sight because they were all downfield. I mean, it was like the easiest touch. Like, where were they throwing the ball to? Mac Jones from behind the line?
Right.
Like way
go
back.
down,
Mac
Jacoby.
Jones.
Go and like I do understand Ramondre's because Myers was right there.
So like, yeah.
What is Jacoby?
But yeah, Mac Jones from 20 yards, 15 yards back is gonna, take it to the house. Yeah. What are they doing?
I'm sure
A Bill Belichick team to see something like that happen is just like crazy.
I'm sure he'll be real happy with that.
Oh yeah, he's fucking. That's crazy. All right, last game we'll talk about real quick. Bengals Bucks. I mean, a total collapse. The Buccaneers really look good to start.
They're up 17-0 to start this game.
And then just one of the worst halves I think I've seen of football played. You had just interceptions, fumbles, that penalty when they sacked Joe Burrow. That would have been like the potential game changing play. The defense just collapsed. I mean, the defense, you almost can't even fault them because they were just put in like spots where the Bengals were at like the 25 every time. But this Bengals team is really good. We've known that for a while now, but Joe Burrow, just one of the best of the business at the end of the day.
Yeah, the guy's a monster, obviously. But like to me, this is more look, Bengals are great. I think we've talked about them a ton, but like I think just like the Buccaneers, what a collapse offensively, dude. I mean, and Tom,
they suck,
like
bro. They are terrible. Like honestly.
And they're gonna make the playoffs. Who is gonna make the playoffs? Are the Saints gonna make the playoffs? The Saints, they're one game out.
Would that be their pick would go like to like
stick? It would do, dude.
Right?
That's the worst. That's the worst possible scenario. Their pick goes to 16, no matter. Even if there are teams with better records than them, their pick automatically goes to 16.
That's crazy.
Which makes sense, but like,
yeah.
Oh man, or 15 rather, not 16. But yeah, 15, 16.
Around there. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. 16. But sorry. But yeah, like it sucks, man. I mean, it sucks for if that were to happen, but the AFC South, I mean, we've talked about, the NFC North, the NFC East rather in years past, and rightfully so because they've been terrible, but this NFC South is right up there with one of the worst divisions of all time. I mean,
it might be the worst. Like
one
of the worst ever because the other three teams are just purely trash. This team is trash, but they should be good. It's really weird.
But should they be good though? Like, should they be good?
On paper, going into the year, we both thought this team would be like 11, 12, and 8.
No, I agree. No. On paper going into the year,
but yeah, now
knowing what you know,
sucks.
Yeah.
This team is just like they're banged up to begin with. That shouldn't matter.
I also think Todd Bowles has no idea what he's doing. This is the second time he's shown he has no idea.
This team, they need, obviously. Todd Bowles, obviously, he's proving he's not a head coach, but Brady is not playing very well. This team is just not converted in the red zone. Like, they're not scoring touchdowns
I
at
have
the
a
end of the
theory.
day.
I have a theory. I think Tom's gonna leave and start somewhere else, and I think a team will give it to him. Like, I think a team
Well,
will.
he'll definitely get a deal. It's just, I don't know,
I
though.
have a
After
team.
this, I don't. But he's one of those guys where it's like, yeah, I don't know if he'll want to end on a season like this, and he'll want to go like
I don't think
San Fran. If you imagine he went to San
that's
Francisco,
exactly you just took the words right out of my mouth. I think that San Francisco could obviously
they would win the Super Bowl with ease if they were healthy. Because Brady, like
We'll
in the
see.
Shanahan system, it would be so simple with all those playmakers.
I mean, if they had to come into the link in the end of January, we'll see about we'd see about that. But
And
no,
if they had Tom Brady and a fully healthy offense and defense, they would. I don't. We'll see. Obviously, they're going to probably lose their defensive coordinator this year, but
Eagles
obviously they
legend,
lost
Ryan.
Salah, and that didn't seem to matter. So
yeah, Eagles legend D'Amico Ryans is going to be a head coach soon. But yeah, like the bank, like I just think because it's like the other thing about these two teams that have like these teams that have like you've seen it like every couple of years, like what the Broncos have right now. They have something similar going on where they have like sort of like two head coaches or like two leaders in the locker room where you have like on one end, like because it seems to really be like a Leftwich Bulls partnership rather than like a complete leadership of Bulls. And it kind of seems like those things never work, right? Like it kind of seems like though that never really seems to work out. But yeah, I mean the Bucks are in a not good spot either. Like who's gonna win that? The Carolina Panthers, if they had won today, would have been in a good spot.
what's the Bucks schedule from here on out?
I mean, you have to assume they're all playing each other soon, right?
Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons. I mean, that's gift wrapped for the Buccaneers at the end of the day.
That January 1st game might decide the and the Saints. So the Saints have to play the Eagles at some point, but and hopefully we'll have the division clinched at that point or the conference clinched at that point. But we're gonna have motivation to play the starters.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting, but I mean, if the Bucks don't win a division with that schedule, I mean, holy cow!
Right.
They should.
Quick prediction: Giants are commies.
I'll take the Commanders. I think they're just at home. The Giants suck. Like, I'll be honest, they suck.
Yeah, they're really banged up right now. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I mean, this has kind of been the Giants season since Xavier McKinney went down, sort of straight.
Yeah. And I'll go with the Packers on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm on the same. All right. So that means that the Giants and the Rams are gonna win, right?
If Giants win, that means Saquon probably get some points. I need that, so I'll take that. But
yeah. No. All right.
Oh boy. Well, that will do it for this week's episode of Outside the Arena. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All our Instagrams will be in the bio. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well at Outside the Arena there. That'll do it. And we'll see y'all next week on Outside the Arena.